Today I learned that magic wands are alien technology. Let's get to it, shall we?
Will you stop the clatter, you bubble-headed booby?
Hit me.
The Outer Limits.
After an alien world called Eben launched an unprovoked attack on the planet Earth, the nations of the world set aside their petty squabbles and united in arms to take the fight to the alien threat. One team, consisting of an African, an Englishman, a German, Martin Sheen, Mr. Takagi,
I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
and of course an American leader, are captured on their way to counter-strike against the Ebonites. Almost immediately, Martin Sheen, Private Dix, freaks out, so one of the aliens casts Silencio on him for peace and quiet. Each member of the team is then psychologically tortured by an Ebonite interrogator. Dix is forced to reveal how much of a mama's boy he is. The German, Lieutenant Krug, is haunted by a secret shame involving his Jewish grandfather during World War II. I'm not gonna put a joke here. The African, Private Willowmore, has his eyesight taken away and then restored, as long as he agrees to look at the gruesome corpse of his fellow soldier. Colonel Stone and Captain Brookman are shamed by their superiors.
It's pointless to fight against brainwork, Terry. It's pointless. You can't win.
And Major Jong is tortured by an Ebonite with the medical skills of Professor Gilderoy Lockhart.
Brachiam. Emendo!
After all of this, the Ebonite interrogator thanks them for revealing what the aliens wanted to know and, in gratitude, agrees to give them basic human necessities like food and a tiny bit of privacy. The men then turn on each other, trying to figure out which of them revealed military secrets, before we are finally shown the truth. The Ebonites are working with the human military leadership to run a perverse and cruel experiment on the soldiers to determine which ones would be fit to fight a real war with a hypothetical other alien race that they might one day encounter. Because, that makes bucket loads of sense. The Ebonite interrogator tries to shut down the whole thing as unnecessarily cruel, but the military commanders want to press on, even though one man has already died and another was nearly killed by his own comrades. They compromise by telling the truth to the team's leader, Colonel Stone, who reacts with a lot of anger and disbelief. Which, yeah, fair enough. The colonel refuses to cooperate and allow the charade to continue, but in the ensuing chaos, another man is shot before the curtain falls on the whole drama. I have a ton of criticisms about this episode, but before I get to those, let me just say I really like what it's trying to do. This is maybe the most ambitious and provocative episode to date, and it deserves a lot of respect for that alone. I'm also a sucker for a story that makes it abundantly clear from the outset that there's more going on than there seems to be, and I love that this episode is driven almost entirely by mystery and psychological horror. However, this is also the cheapest looking episode to date. I've been willing to forgive a lot of bland sets and the like in previous episodes, because I know the time and budgetary restrictions of high-concept television of the 1960s were pretty extreme, but this episode looks like it was filmed in a warehouse with minimalist set dressing constructed at the last minute out of papier-mâché. I feel like I should be more bothered by this than I actually am, though, because it lends an air of, local theater to things. Like this was put together by bohemian artists in the park or something. I also think the writing is a bit clunky. As I said, I greatly admire what the story is trying to do, but the characters are hard to get a handle on, with the most compelling character killed off early in the episode. The animosity the others display towards one another rarely ever feels organic, and the dialogue is pretty clunky and stilted.
Also aware that there is no such astral path coded 004. It would have to be 14. Why not 40?
Not to mention the fact that the eventual reveal of what's really going on is a little underwhelming by how much suspension of disbelief it requires from the audience. I don't know. Am I being too hard on this episode? Anyway, that's all I have on Nightmare. Now, as always, do all those YouTube-y things and check out my Patreon. And all that other good stuff. But until next time, this is the Unapologetic Geek, telling you to never be ashamed of what you love, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
There's nothing heroic about that. You want to die. Unconsciously, of course.